Hi, I'm Jess.
And I'm Kassidy.
And we're two 21-year-olds from Canada.
And it's our turn to tell you our side of the story.
We're going to give you some tips and tricks on all things to do with concerts and tours.
And show you what it's really like to be a fangirl.
Stay tuned and we'll show you the ins and the outs of this lifestyle.
And tell you some interesting stories along the way.
Because it's finally
our turn.
Hi guys, welcome to the first episode of Our Turn, the podcast.
We're very excited.
Very exciting. We've been wanting to do this for a while, and so we're actually finally getting around to doing it, and I'm excited.
We've been talking about it for almost a year.
Yeah, probably, a long time. So it's nice to actually finally get started.
Yeah.
And this is the first episode, so see how it goes.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be great. I guess we should introduce ourselves to start off with. So my name is Jessica. I am 21.
I'm Kassidy. I am also 21.
We're both from Vancouver, Canada. Yeah. We're living it up in the Great White North, just living our best lives over here. Well, not really because
not the greatest life right now. We're stuck inside all the time.
Stuck inside. We're both working at a grocery store, so not living our best lives.
Not doing what we want to be doing, but it's okay.
It's fine. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna,
gives us time to do this kind of stuff that we weren't able to do before because we were so busy. So.
Be productive when you can't do a lot of things that are actually productive.
Exactly. We spent our entire year last year doing shows and stuff, so we don't get to do that this year. So
now we're gonna
talk about it instead.
Take a step back, talk about our experiences and share it with you guys, because I know some of you guys have questions and want to know tips, and just we want to give it to you. We have experienced quite a few things after traveling for shows and going to concerts and stuff, so might as well.
Lots of nightmares, lots of good things.
Yeah,
just
some interesting experiences for sure. So
yeah,
let's start off. So let's get to know you a little bit more. What was your first show? Your first
My
concert?
first show was the Jonas Brothers. No, it wasn't.
Mine was the Jonas Brothers.
I lied.
My first concert was the Jonas Brothers when I was in grade 6. So I was 10 years old in grade 6?
2009.
So it
was my second show.
I was 10 years old.
My first show was Avril Lavigne. I think it was 2008 or something. It was snowing. It was put on by Best Buy, and it was outside, and it was snowing. It was free tickets my aunt took us. That's why I thought the Jonas was my first one, because that was the one that I picked to go to. I mean, I didn't pay for the tickets. I was 10. I didn't have a job. But, I picked to go to it. I went with my friend, and it was...
No, I went... Who did you end up going with to the Jonas Brothers?
I went with my best friend at the time. Her name was Acacia.
Yeah, I also went with my best friends at the time. It was Tyra and Kayla and all three of our moms, and it was an experience.
Yeah, Acacia's mom was there. My mom was at the show, but she was with my little sister and my older sister. Because even at that time, I still didn't want to go to concerts with my mom. All right. So another thing we should talk about is, what's your favorite show that you've been to?
Now, I have to admit, the Jonas Brothers was really good. I saw them...
Which time?
Okay, I've seen them twice. I saw them on their recent tour last year in October, and it was such an amazing show. I went with my mom. It was really nice. I brought her as a birthday present, so it was a little reminiscing thing. We went when I was a kid, and so then I took her when we were older, because, gotta bring back those memories. But, yeah, Jonas Brothers was really good, but definitely my favorite show would either be Why Don't We in Seattle for the 8 Letters tour on the spring tour, because I went with Cass, I went with a couple of my other friends, and it was all of the Canadians that went to the show in Seattle. We all were front row together, and we were just having a great time. We were barricade, and it was...
Met some other friends at that show too.
Yeah, there were some people that traveled to that show that we met, and it was just a really, really fun show. But also, I am forever and always a Justin Bieber stan, so definitely seeing him, any of his shows. I've been to 3 of his tours now, all 3 of them that he's done. That didn't get canceled, this last one, and it was just always really fun. I went with my dad the first time, so it was definitely an experience.
Your dad's taking you to a concert?
My dad took me to see Justin Bieber. I paid for both of the tickets, but...
But he still took you.
He took me,
I could have paid for front row tickets for my dad, and he wouldn't have gone and taken me to see One Direction.
I remember it was $121.60 for 2 tickets to see Justin Bieber.
And you bought that for your dad?
Well, there was for both of them. So they were $60 each for
I
tickets,
thought it was $100 for each of them, and I was wow.
My little grade 7 self-saving, all my allowance money, spent all my money to go see Justin Bieber, and it was the best time ever. And my dad would he kind of felt bad that he spent money on his ticket, so he bought me a shirt and a glow stick and popcorn and
So he really paid for his own ticket essentially, because
with snacks and merch. So
yeah. Because you would have bought that stuff anyway.
Oh, yeah, 100% I would have bought that.
kind of was even anyhow.
What about you? What's been your favorite?
I don't know. That is such a loaded question for me because there's been years where I've gone to like 20 shows in a year.
Yeah, you
so
have.
I don't know how to answer that question because like you said, like Jonas Brothers both times, incredible show, and even seeing them this last tour after not having seen them in 10 years. I think that made it so extra special.
It was, yeah.
And hearing all of the songs that was
our childhood.
Easily, like, our childhood. Like, 100%. One of the first artists we were like, oh my god, I love these guys.
Yeah.
So that one's special, but also One Direction, because I got to see them with Zayn and without, will always hold a special place in my heart. I would have said Louis, but it got canceled because of Corona, because that was going to be, like, extra special. On One Direction's 10-year anniversary, we were going to get to go see Louis, but also, I don't know, like, Shawn's shows.
Shawn Mendes always puts on a great
Demi's shows, even. Why don't we's?
It's just, like, it's hard to pick one.
Jack and Jack, it's so hard for me to pick a favorite show. I've never been able to do it, because every show has a little different aspect to it that makes it special.
It's like...
So...
Okay, something that Corbin Bestman, for those of you who don't know when I refer to Corbin, from Why Don't We, he said a quote to us
in Vegas
a year and a half ago now?
Yeah, in March last year.
And he said that seeing a show is like watching a favorite movie, and every single time you watch this movie, you notice something different with it. And that's the same thing as like seeing the same show, seeing the same tour more than once.
Well, because how many times did we see the 8 Letters tour?
I saw it 6 times.
I saw it 9. But it was so there was something different about it every single time that makes
different.
It a new but something happens in every single show that makes it a whole different experience.
Yeah. So it's different every time, and it's like watching your favorite movie. You notice something new and special.
Exactly, and he couldn't have put it
in any better way. Yeah, he's literally the reason why we went to the summer tour, because we didn't
have tickets for any of the shows because they weren't coming anywhere near us.
No, so we weren't going to go. We weren't going to hop in a plane to go see them when we see them 3 times on the same tour. And then Corbin said that, and then told us to come to Vegas, and we're like, well, okay.
Because we were in Vegas, so we sat at the airport the next day,
and we looked up flights back to Vegas.
We were like, okay, how are we going to make it work? We went to Vegas, California. Like, how are we going to make it work?
Exactly. Speaking of Corbin and Why Don't We, what other artists do you like besides, obviously, Why Don't We and the Jonas Brothers?
Shawn. I like Justin. I mean, she's a lot more hardcore for Justin.
Always a believer in my eyes.
But I've always loved Justin. But Justin, like, right now, like, one of my favorite artists, especially during quarantine, has been Grayson Chance.
Grayson Chance is so talented.
He is so good, and he's the only concert we got to see this year.
Yeah.
So that's been
lucky. We saw him right before Corona kicked in, so.
But Jack and Jack, Spencer Sutherland.
I really like Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, Ed
Sheeran is crazy talented, so I can never go wrong with listening to one of his albums.
Yeah, no. I'm a huge Demi Lovato fan.
A lot of, like, just the top 40 stuff I've been really into recently. A lot of the top 40's been TikTok songs, and I have a little bit of an obsession with TikTok.
She does, this is true.
So I've listened to a couple of those TikTok songs here and there that just put me in a good, like, upbringing mood. I know that Cass is more into slow songs.
I'm very into slow songs. If you were to give me the choice between, like an upbeat song and a slow one, I will 1000% always pick the slow one.
I mean, like, I do like a good slow song, and definitely in certain moods I'm like all about the slow songs, but
I'm always in the mood for a slow song. You have to be in the mood for a slow song. I have to be in the mood for them. Like, there's certain songs that I'll always listen to, but upbeat songs can never go wrong. Just like things that put me in a good mood and like positive, all about those. See, I'm completely the opposite, where if I need to be pumped up or something, I'll still listen to a slow song, but I will scream it.
Yeah.
And my dad never understood that, but when I was growing up and driving to soccer, we were allowed to pick our music to pump us up for a game. Mm-hmm. And I would play slow music, and he didn't understand it. But to me, because that was my favorite song, I could scream the saddest song in the world at the top of my lungs, and it would put me in such a good mood, even though the song wasn't a good mood.
Just because the song is your favorite.
Yeah.
I completely get that.
But yeah, we were both into the top 40s kind of music, and then we both also kind of like smaller artists, like Eben. We didn't even mention Eben.
Yes, Eben is a freaking G. I love that guy. For those of you who don't know, Eben is like, I don't even know what to call it. He's like a pop, but like with a twist.
We were talking about this the other day in the car. We don't even know what genre we'd want to put Eben in, because he is pop. but he also has a little bit of something else to him, like R&B kind of thing.
Like flair to it with like, I don't even know what it would be. It's just like...
But, like, it's something we both like. And, like, artists that sound like that, too, we both like them.
It's good music.
We just don't know what genre to call it.
It's just good songs. That's just where I put it. It's just good music, and that's the genre, and that's what I like.
Yeah, and I also like country. I know she doesn't.
I'm not about country.
But I grew up with country. That was the only genre in my house that the entire family could agree to listen to. You would not catch my dad turning One Direction on in his car while he was driving. But if I was in the car with my mom, I could get it. But if my dad was in the car and all my sisters, it was country. That was the only thing we could all pick to listen to.
Speaking of songs, do you have any, like, favorite all-time songs? For any artist in particular, just, like, anyone. Is there a song that you can always put on, no matter how old or new it is, that you will listen to on repeat or never skip it, ever? I know, it's a tough one, because, like, I'm thinking about it, and there's a few songs that I know I won't ever skip, but it's hard to say what my favorite song is, and I've always been this
I don't think I could ever pick a favorite song, because, like, you have a favorite song, and then you hear something else, and then that becomes your favorite song.
And it depends on what mood you're in, too.
Yeah.
Because, like, if I'm in, like, a, you know, upbeat, whatever, positive mood, I'm going to want to listen to, like, an upbeat song, versus if I'm in a sadder mood, I might want to listen to something more on, like, the sadder side, or, you know, if I'm in more of, like, a motivational mood, I might want to listen to something like
You got, like, a favorite
Purpose,
song for,
like,
other moods, but it's so hard to even pick one favorite song for, like, a mood, too.
Yeah.
It's, like...
Is there any, like, lyrics that, like, stand out to you in any song?
There's lyrics in a Jack and Jack song, and it's just keep your head above the water, and I know you'll find some way to breathe, and I really like those ones. I'm a huge lyric person. If you've ever seen me, I have lyrics tattooed all over me. And
what lyrics would those be?
I've got the Jack and Jack lyrics that I just said. I have You Gotta Take the Chance Right in Front of You from Never Know by Why Don't We. And then I have Know That It'll Be Just Fine from That's Alright by Evan. And I have You Just Gotta Hold On from Hold On by Sean.
Such a good song.
It's such a good song. I remember when I saw that song live for the first time. He hadn't released it yet, but I had already heard it because I was always doing that when I was going to watch other performances from other shows to try and see songs, and I was like, wait, I really like this song.
Yeah, I saw that
and
it was
then
on the
he doesn't sing anymore.
Which upsets me so much, because that's, like, one of my all-time favorite Sean songs, and I literally remember when he performed it, it hadn't been released yet, like she said, and he performed it, and I had a small clip of it that I filmed. It wasn't the best quality.
It's on my Instagram.
Yeah, it was such a good song, and so I listened to it on repeat, and I would literally, in my car on the way to school, I would sing it to myself because I wanted to hear it so bad.
Yeah.
And this is kind of embarrassing because I would literally sit in the car and sing to myself and then cry. Like, the audio wasn't on because I was driving in my car. So I was just sitting with no music in my car, singing this song in my head and sobbing my eyes out on the way to school because it's such a good song, and, like, just certain lyrics, then it just, like, got to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god.
I'm either, like, a slow sad song or, like, a slow motivational song.
Yeah, I get that. I feel the same way. Definitely in the mood, but...
It seems to be as soon as I get lyrics from a song tattooed on me, they stop performing the song.
That is true.
So, Jack and Jack don't perform Tides anymore. Why Don't We doesn't perform Never Know. Sean doesn't perform Hold On. I think I'm safe with Evan, because I don't think he's going to stop performing That's Alright. At least not yet.
Yeah, and if he does, well, then we will be after
We'll
you,
have a
Evan.
Conversation.
We already have had conversations. Speaking of conversations with Evan, we had an experience with him with this one song called Next X.
So I guess that could be easily one of our favorite songs, which is weird because, like, it's not like I always want to listen to it, but that one line.
It's not the best song. Like, I love it, but, like, it's not, like, his best song. But there's one line in it that says, tongue out like Mick Jagger, lolly.
Yeah.
And every single time we have to stick our tongue out and do like, rock and roll
We'll be driving
sounds.
in our car doing it. We did it with him in the meet and greet one time.
Yeah, and
it's just a special part of a song.
Exactly. It's the second verse of Next X, and the sad part is he still performs Next X, except he only performed the first verse on the summer tour, and we had a couple
Australia
words.
tour.
Exactly, yeah. We had a couple words with him talking about how he needed to do the second verse, and he told us he would. And that man, I swear to God, I will hunt him down until he performs the second verse. He is not yet.
We talked about it with him in San Diego, because in Costa Mesa he didn't do it. So
yeah, so we're like, what the heck?
Like, what are you doing? Like, where's the verse? And then, so we talked about it in San Diego, in Vegas.
In Costa Mesa, on live streams.
I talked about it with him in Australia. So, like, he knows we want to hear it. And
on his
when
Zoom
he
calls,
goes on his own tour,
we will
if he doesn't, like, if he doesn't sing it, we're gonna have to have a conversation.
We're gonna have a tattoo across our forehead.
Just next whole thing.
Second
or
verse,
you know what? Second verse.
Just the second verse. That's all we need.
Like, it's only 30 seconds.
Exactly. Just that one line. That's all I need. He can just come on stage, say, and then leave, and that's all I need for the entire tour.
Well,
but, like, you get my point. We need that. Speaking of traveling, where was your favorite place you've traveled so far?
With you or without?
With me. Because I know without would be Australia. But
yes.
with me.
Without her, Australia was by far the most amazing trip I went on for shows. But I don't know, maybe Vegas. It was my first time being in Vegas, but also California has a special place. So
I feel like my favorite show...
Well, we're not talking about the show. We're talking about favorite
city
place.
I've been to for a show.
Because we've already discussed Seattle was
a great show.
Something special.
Yes.
New York.
I didn't go to New York.
I forgot she didn't go to New York. Dang.
Yeah, I didn't.
So my favorite places to go, she hasn't been, but it's not because she hasn't been there. It's just the atmosphere of the shows. Like going to the New York shows was just.
It's like really fun.
A whole different experience because New York is such like a big city.
Yeah, it seemed like it would be a very, very fun time. But my favorite city that we've traveled to for a show would probably be, oh gosh, I don't even know what. Maybe Vegas. For the spring tour was really, really fun because it was just the two of us and it was the first time we ever traveled for a show. But
together.
Yeah. We had traveled to other places together, but not for a show. But that was my first time ever traveling for a show with her. She traveled prior to that, but for me it was a whole new experience and it was super, super fun and I got to reunite with one of my friends and it was just a really, really fun time. Yeah. But I don't know. I think they all have kind of a a place in my heart.
Exactly.
They're all different.
Because something different happened in each city.
Exactly. Yeah.
I keep saying something different, and it's just.
And I feel like we will, as the season goes on, we're going to tell you guys some of the interesting stories we've experienced.
We encountered lots of different things.
There's been some interesting things that have happened throughout the whole traveling, and we want to tell you guys what's happened and kind of give you some tips and tricks on how not to have these things happen, or to how to
avoid them.
Exactly, or make the things even better. And yeah, from being stranded in the middle of California one day to...
That's a good one.
Arriving right on time to meet them to a bunch of other things. Yeah. There's some
almost missing our flight.
Yeah, there's been a lot of interesting experiences, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys because it's something that we've kind of kept to ourselves for the last year and a half, and although we've talked with our friends and stuff, I feel like they get sick of our stories, so that
because they're not there with us, so they're like, okay, like, we get it, you guys had a good time, but, like, stop talking about it.
So,
but
to share it with you guys, and hopefully you guys find them entertaining, and like I said, hopefully avoid some of the situations that we had to go through, because
we wouldn't wish it upon our worst enemy.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see if Evan performs next tour.
Yeah, then he also doesn't like Barstow, California, so it can be a mutual hate.
Let's just, not go back to Barstow. We love you if you're from Barstow, but your city gives us, like, flashbacks of, like, horror.
Good thing you don't have a concert venue, because...
we would not be coming back.
Well, you might have a concert venue, but... I don't know. We only saw one part of Barstow, California.
Route 66, but not the way I want to travel to it. So speaking of... traveling for shows and stuff, I know that we have traveled to shows and done fan projects at shows.
Yes.
So
fan projects are always such a special thing. Even at shows we didn't travel to, there's been so many shows that I've gone to that have had fan projects that either someone else has created that I've helped with, or someone else has created that I just was a part of, or even ones that we've created.
Yeah, so together we've created 2 different fan projects. We did one for the Seattle show on the spring tour, and then one for the Vancouver show on the invitation tour. And we'll touch more on it later on in the season and tell you guys kind of how we did it. So if you are interested in doing a fan project in the future, we can kind of give you our
little tips and tricks.
Exactly, the ins and outs and how to, properly promote it and properly distribute signs or whatever it might be and have it organized correctly, because
it's a lot of work.
Yes, and I've done a few more fan projects without her. I did one for...
I've done a few without her,
Justin Bieber in actual arena, and that was a big project. That was the first one I ever did, but... like I said, we'll touch on it a little bit later on in the season, but it was it was a lot, but it was really rewarding. And
seeing the look on the artist's face when they see it is just something
It's the best
special.
thing ever. Just like seeing, just like the joy that they get from it is just like, it makes it all worth it. The amount of money and hours and time spent, it makes it definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Speaking of what we're going to talk about throughout the season, I kind of wanted to throw in that we're also going to be talking about some stereotypes, because I feel like there's a lot
lots of them. I went to school and being labeled the fangirl was not always the best thing, especially because I went to a school for music. So being labeled the fangirl in a lot of their eyes was weird, but it's not.
No, and I feel like people kind of have this like preconceived conception about what we are and what we do and how we feel and how we act, and
some of it's true.
Some of it is true, most of it isn't.
Yeah.
And it's just exaggerated, and the fact is people don't really understand, and like half the people you probably talk to might have some sort of fangirly type, things about them.
But for other things.
Exactly. And it's like for sports, people are the exact same way.
But they don't call themselves fangirls, but they're fans. My dad's a diehard football fan,
but they're not a fangirl.
If I called him a fanboy, he would not be taking it.
No, and it's like, why do they have
the same
different...
things? Exactly.
And it doesn't make any sense to me. So
because we were teenage girls or young adult girls, it's a whole nother stereotype.
Exactly. And like, it's really not that fair. So we released a documentary at the beginning of the year that's called Behind It All, and it definitely goes into the depth behind everything to do with the fangirl. Yeah. So definitely check that out. It's just on YouTube. It's called Behind It All, and I think it worked out pretty well.
It worked out well. We had lots of fans. It was all about Limelight.
All about
So why don't we fans? But we still talked about just it could really just relate to any artist in general.
Exactly. Just kind of the truth behind it all is kind of what we want to get at, and that's kind of what we want to do with this as well, is kind of show you guys our side. It's our turn to kind of talk about what we go through and what it's actually like, opposed to just this, front that people
see and they judge it right away, whereas some of the characteristics of being a fangirl can actually be so helpful when getting things across.
Exactly. And like some of the things that we're able to do and accomplish are such good traits to have and such good things that we can do, and it's like people don't see those. They see it as weird or creepy or fangirly, when really it's like, no, like I'm helping you with this or I'm helping you with that, and those characteristics were formed because of our life online in a way, and like that's how they got developed.
Like you could put those characteristics and skills that we do on a resume and it would look great. Exactly. But if you explained it the way that someone would explain it as a fangirl, they'd be like, that's weird, I don't want that at my job. But in reality, it's actually a good trait for a job.
Organizing a fan project, like that's a lot of work. And that's management, that's time management. That's a lot of good things that you can do in organizing and talking to venues and talking to management, talking to security, and we were able to work it out that we actually got early access into the venue to organize this event, and luckily certain members of people's teams are very, very helpful, and shout out to John Lucero. He is one of the best people ever. Stacy, yeah, for sure, and without them, like, some of this stuff wouldn't have been possible, but
they make it a lot easier for us to...
Exactly. Some people just, like, push us off to the side and we're like, what are you doing, when really it's
but I think they get it.
Exactly, and I feel like getting it is difficult for some people to do, and you need to explain it in such a way that makes sense, and I hope we're going to get that point across here, where it's like, it's different than what you necessarily think.
Just like a shout out to Jade, even, if I wasn't listening to her podcast, like, for the longest time, I didn't want people to think of me as a fangirl.
Yeah.
But Jade, that's what she is, and she made a career out of it, and that's when I realized that it's not a bad thing to be a fangirl. You can actually do things with it.
Exactly.
That a lot of people would disagree with.
Growing up throughout high school, being known as a fangirl was it was really difficult, and I got bullied, I got made fun of, and it became to the point where it was like, I don't want people to know this, and I hid it, and it was always a part of me, but I felt like it was a part of me that only my close friends knew and my family knew, and even my family.
Yeah, even my family.
Only my close family knew, like my parents and my brother and a couple aunts and uncles, but besides that, like, my extended family and even, like, my friends that I wasn't super close with, it was something I kept a secret, like, because...
I didn't want to talk about it, because then it was going to be like, well, that's silly, that's a waste of time, but to us it wasn't.
Yeah, like, it's... I'm happy my parents...
That's how we made our friends.
Literally, like, internet friends were such a big part of my life. Like, I met her through the internet. Like, I would have never known her.
It's crazy, though, because we live 10 minutes away from each other. I played soccer, she played softball. We had the same coach, same teammates. We knew each other's, like, people that we went to school with, but we didn't know it until
she knew, and
one day we had bought tickets for a show and got added into a group chat together, and
now
we
are.
Literally travel everywhere together.
3 years later, we've been to the entire East Coast. No, West Coast.
A lot of the West Coast.
To Florida. We're planning to go to Australia next year if, the whole pandemic eases up. But
it's crazy that being a fangirl can also get you the best people in your life.
Exactly.
Like, I hardly talk to anybody from high school anymore. If I'm talking to someone, it's a friend I made on the internet.
Yeah.
Well, or at a show.
Yeah. But the same sort of thing, it's friends through music. And I think I only have, with the exception of my friend Natasha, who was, like, my best friend from, like, high school, from, like, grade 9, I met her. But we became friends because she was a One Direction stan and I was a Justin Bieber stan, and that's why we became friends.
Same kind of personality.
Exactly. Yeah. We became friends through not the love of the same music, but the love of music in general. And we both understood each other, and we understood that feeling we had for a certain artist online, and so that's how we became friends. And besides that, I have one other person that I actually, like, hang out with, that, like, the two of us will go and do something, that I met through something else, and it was through work, and we're on the same sports team. But besides that, I'd have no other friends really that I still talk to.
The only time I really talk to people, like, other people, like, I'm talking about music with them. Like, I'll talk to people from high school, but if I'm talking to them, I'm sending them an Instagram story, an Instagram post, and, oh, look, this artist is coming here. Oh, did you hear this new song?
Yeah.
It's because it's nice having friends that you share similar interests with, because then you have stuff to talk about. Mm-hmm. Whereas my friends growing up in high school, we didn't have interests together. We just were in the same friend group.
The ease of being together.
Yeah. So we're gonna wrap up this episode a bit. We don't want it to be too long. It's the first episode. Don't want it to be crazy long, and then
just get to know us a little bit, and we'll kind of dive in deep to all the things we're going to talk about. But speaking of things we're going to talk about, last few things you want to mention that's going to happen this season?
I'm going to give you guys some tips for buying tickets, tips for going to shows, tips for traveling, just lots of tips. Difference between GA shows, VIP shows, outdoor shows, indoor shows.
All the different things that come with going to concerts and tours and that kind of stuff. Because like I said before, we've been through the ringer with some of the stuff. We've done the good, we've done the bad, we've been through it all. So if we can help you guys and kind of avoid some of the negative things we've been through and just kind of push the positives and kind of help you guys out, like,
also,
not?
If there's anything else you guys kind of, that we didn't mention, that we might talk about, but you guys can always
message us.
Anything.
If they were to message you, where can they find you?
If you want to find me on Instagram, it is at Kassidy Lesser. My Twitter is at _Kassidy Page. Those are probably the best two places to contact me.
And for me, if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at _it's Jess Taylor, or on Instagram at jfolds1195. That's like J and then FOULDS 1195. You'll be able to find me there. Or on YouTube at It's Jessica Taylor on YouTube.
We also have a Instagram for the podcast, and it is at Our Turn Official. You'll be able to find both of our Instagram profiles there as well.
Definitely hit us a DM on there, or message us and just let us know if you have any certain things you want us to talk about, or you just want to give us feedback, because we're definitely looking for feedback. It's never a bad thing. Constructive criticism is so helpful. So if you want to give us any tips or tricks on what you guys want to see or hear, definitely let us know.
Yeah, we're open to talk about really anything. That
we're here, and we're gonna be here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're not going anywhere.
I think that's it. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here on the first episode. And I can't wait to get this journey started and, like, see where it takes us. And I'm excited.
Yeah. Because we've got lots of ideas for the future, but for right now,
taking it day by day and seeing how it goes. So.
And we want to show you guys our side of the story.